What is going on, Wake Up Wealthy listeners? Welcome back to the Wake Up Wealthy podcast. It has been a while since Julian and I have been in the podcasting seat. We've had a ton of growth, a ton of expansion go on at the company. And today we are recording our very first episode from the new office. So we've got visuals up on the podcast. You're going to be able to watch it on YouTube. And as always, be able to listen to the audio on your favorite podcast platform. Julian, it feels good to be back in the seat.
Dude, yeah. 2020 was a killer year. And, Brodie just said, we're here in this office. This office is the culmination of a lot of things, a lot of growth, a lot of expansion, a lot of badass execution that has led to massive return and massive results. But obviously behind all the fucking glamorous wins, there was a fair amount of adversity. And for anybody in 2020, everyone's just kind of brushed over the year as it was just a tough fucking year. And this is December. We're about to end this year really strong. It's obviously been our strongest year. But it's important to understand, especially in this social media world where it's easy to, post your fucking Stripe account on your Instagram story. And it's easy to take pictures in front of nice cars. It's easy to give this image that everything is fine all the time. And, we keep it real here on this podcast because, dude, success and transformation can get really fucking messy. Success and transformation can get really fucking messy. That's not bad. It's not good or bad. It just is. It just comes with the territory. And so what we're going to jam on today is the fact that, literally transformation comes from getting what you don't want. And that sounds so counterintuitive. That sounds a little wacky and upside down, but we're going to really break it down for you. And you'll see that transformation truly comes from getting what you don't want. And if you look at the most impactful people in this world, the most impactful people in business, the people that are really making a fucking difference in the world, in other people's lives, they didn't just wake up with a fucking silver spoon and just their life was a sequence of nice things going nicely over and over and over again, right? Transformation truly comes from getting what you don't want, getting the result you don't want, getting a life event that you don't want, and then reacting to it, learning from it, being tested by it. That's truly where transformation comes from. And an example we use it with our guys a lot is just look at how you build a fucking muscle, right? You expose it to resistance. You literally have to, your body, there's a reason why everybody's not walking around super fit all the time, right? It's because the body doesn't want it. The body doesn't want to get out of bed early. The body doesn't want to expose itself to challenge, to fatigue, to getting into the gym, right? You literally give your body doses of what it physiologically doesn't really want, which is resistance and progressive overload. And then you expose the muscles to the resistance, they recover, and your body adapts and evolves. And so we are the same way. Our businesses are the same way. Our lives are the same way. We will get exposed to things that we didn't want. We want the transformation on the other side. We want the money on the other side. We want the breakthrough on the other side. But when we're in the river of transformation, it's scary, it's hectic, it's frustrating. And so, we want to talk today about it's okay to get what you don't want. It's okay for things to go quote unquote wrong, because that's where the actual transformation comes from. And Wake Up Wealthy as a business has experienced this fucking, I would say at 3 or 4 pivotal huge times where we had a perfect plan, a perfect strategy, and it just fell flat. We did not get what we wanted. We got what we did not want. But applying the principles that we embody as a company, and by applying the principles and strategies that we teach our clients within the Wake Up Wealthy Brotherhood, we've been able to have the most profitable year ever. And like Brodie said, it has all culminated with us here in this office. A year ago, this wasn't even a concept. And, putting the money down for it, bringing all of our guys down to Austin, it wasn't even maybe it was a fantasy, but it wasn't even a conceptual reality. But based on how we've dealt with getting what we don't want, right? We've been able to transform, make a shit ton of money, and change hundreds of guys' lives.
Yeah, the reality here is success just doesn't come easy. The same way being fit doesn't come easy. You are going to have to encounter resistance. And we have this habit of when the resistance shows up, we revert back to our old self or an old pattern of thinking or behavior, and we cower from that resistance. And look, guys, I want you to understand, me speaking to you on this podcast, me teaching you this principle, I am also a guy who has succumbed to it over the course of this year, because every time as you grow, the challenge, the resistance, it becomes heavier, it becomes becomes harder to deal with. But it's important to reframe yourself and understand that that is part of the process. Resistance is the way. It is the path that you are on. Business is always going to be challenging, and the mechanics of business are going to create emotional responses inside of you that make you question yourself. Am I enough for this? Am I smart enough? Am I powerful enough to get through this? And it's something that we as leaders of this community, of this company, encounter all of the time. And, it's important to be able to break those things down for what they are. And so, let's go into some of the specific examples that we've gone through this year, just so we can share, from a place of transparency and vulnerability, to show you guys what it actually has taken for us to build a multiple 7-figure business and to really grow and get everyone into an office where we can finally feel like we've built something real here. I mean, what are some of the most challenging periods that you had over the course of this year?
Yeah. So, one was building the mastery method. So, for those of you that don't know, when you enter the Wake Up Wealthy Brotherhood, which is our 90-day flagship program, right away you are linked up with the most elite coaches in the game and the most elite community in the game. But we also have every single guy go through our transformation protocol, which is called the mastery method. It's lessons. It's a new operating system for how you conduct yourself mentally, physically, financially, professionally, spiritually, all that. And last year when I decided to come on board here at Wake Up Wealthy, Brodie's like, all right, dude, I need you to make this program. He's like, you should be able to do it. I want it to be equal parts the 13 steps of AA, equal parts 12. Equal parts the 12 steps, equal parts Joe Dispenza, equal parts subconscious rewiring, equal parts mind, body, spirit business. I was like, got it.
Yeah, easy enough. And because I remember too, it's like I had spent a long time really thinking about how I wanted this flagship program to look, because, for me up until that point, I had been doing, more or less symptomatic coaching.
Yeah.
We had a critical mass of clients, but they would come in, they would tell us problems, and we would, I would be like, hey, here's my mindset and belief around that problem. And so I knew in order to really scale this thing, in order for it to really grow, in order for it to really, for this way of life to be validated, we needed to have a doctrine, something that we could always reference back to, something that we had taken all of the patterns of these guys and built a program around it. And that's the beauty of what we did with the mastery method. But I had been trying to figure out how to structure this thing for the last 7 months before Julian came on. I knew that I needed this thing, and I had reached this roadblock, and I needed someone to, really get in here and help me build. Because for me as an entrepreneur, asset creation and content creation, while I can get on a podcast, or I can get on camera and I can riff with the best of them, really sitting down and building the structure behind everything, I had reached a mental block on. And so I passed it into Julian's hands, and I put a lot of pressure on him. I said, hey, this is our key to the next level. Here's my mindset behind how I want it to be built. It's going to be easy. Build it.
Yeah, dude. And so hours and hours went into building iterations, and he'd be like, nah, build it again. I was like, cool. And so we finally built it out. And then when we were all in Tampa, right, it was the first time we'd ever come together as a team. We had just been running remotely up until then. And we shot it all in Tampa. And then, we got back and Haas edited it and really we set it all up, and it just still wasn't enough. I was like, dude, we can't stand by this. What it is awesome, but the frame is there, but it needs more fucking meat on the bones. And so then, it was about another 50 to 60 hours of creating additional content, additional trainings, additional assets and exercises to almost supplement what was already there. Right. And yeah, it was hard. And because again, transformation is what? Going, doing, being, becoming something that you're not already. It's in you, it's within you, it's lying dormant. It needs to be activated, whatever that skill set is or that ability is. And so, building a course like this, building a framework this big is just something I've never done. And so that's where doubt comes in. That's where the thoughts, is anybody even going to use this? Is this going to work? All those thoughts come in when you're engaging with transformation. And so, long story short, I would say more than 200 hours have gone into it, and we continue adding to it. But now it is one of the most effective transformational sequences that a human, I mean, obviously ours is directed towards men in business, but it's just built on these scientific principles of human transformation and behavioral transformation. And shit, our behaviors build our businesses. And so our guys go through the mastery method and they come out the other side making more money, building teams, being more confident leaders in their own lives and in their businesses. And so, you know, that was early on. That was probably in like February and March, but like that was like the Q1 challenge for me. And then that led us to Evolve 01.
Yeah, and there's a side lesson here that I want to talk about too, because even when we got down to Tampa, like the lesson here is imperfect action and trusting the people that you've put around you. So whenever we were in Tampa getting ready to shoot the mastery method, I was just not at my best. You know, I had gone through a lot.
That's when you found out how tall I was.
Yeah. So if you're listening to this right now and you're wondering how tall Julian is, you may think he's like 6 foot. He's 5'6".
That's also not true. Average those out.
Okay, he's 5'9". But we were down here in Tampa, and I had gone through, you know, a lot of personal struggle recently. I had gone through, you know, a lot of moments where I didn't have clarity on where I wanted to take a Wake Up Wealthy, and I just wasn't at my best when we were shooting this. You know, we will probably get to a point where we reshoot the mastery method. I feel that if we shot it now, you know, I would be in a much, much, much better state. But at that time, we had to get this thing out.
Yeah.
You know, our client base and all of the clients that we were looking to take on over the course of 2020, they were demanding this. And so I had to take that imperfect action. I had to say, hey, we're going to get the first iteration of this out. And I also have to trust the member of my team who I have placed in this position to pick up the slack. And I had to be willing to let go of that control and really get our product out there. And it was the best thing that we ever did because, you know, in reality, no matter what stories I was telling myself about where I was at that time or what kind of value I could provide, the thing's insanely fucking valuable. It's changed the lives of over 100 men this year. And so getting that out there and really getting through the first iteration and not buying into any of the shit that your mind is telling yourself is going to be incredibly important for how you scale. And getting that out did lead us to our next transformational moment. And so, which was Evolve 01, our very first live event, our very first boot camp event. This is a place where Julian and I really came together as coaches and we developed our ability to lean on each other and deliver change and transformation into the lives of these men. And so, you know, understand the ebbs and flows that happen over the course of any year inside of business, but especially inside of 2020. You know, for us, we came back from that first event and we were just fucking on fire. It was electric. And we went on a really hard charge of building. We scaled a ton, 30, 40% month over month. But then again, we reached a state in a period where, you know, the excitement had died down and we were facing new challenges and new problems. And just like the time before, you know, I was put into a place of stress and scarcity and uncertainty in a time where I needed certainty.
Yeah. And like one thing to say, for those of you that don't know, Evolves, those are our live events. They're immersive transformational events. We take a small unit of guys out to an undisclosed location and run them through 48 hours of literally every single minute is strategically planned to cultivate the most transformation in their mind and in their behavioral patterns. They really come back a new human. And so, you know, this was in March where, yeah, it went extremely well. It was a pivotal moment for our business. We come back and then boom, COVID madness hits. And so we're like, shit, man, we just had this amazing event. We had record-setting revenue at this event, like shit. And then we just straight up, we were like, dude, we're not going to let this get us. Like one of the principles we live by, we preach by, we teach our guys is like truly your circumstances can't force you into submission. Your circumstance, you obviously have to honor them and react to them powerfully, but like they just can't, like, you have the final fucking word. And that's what we believe and that's what we embody. And so, yeah, like we were charging hard, like March record setting, April beat March, May beat April. Like it just kept going and going and going, which was awesome. But like Brodie said, like, dude, you're fucking human. Ebbs and flows. You're going to have times when you feel unstoppable. You're going to have times when like shit seems so easy. And yes, leverage those times, love those times. But just like every valley has a peak and every peak has a valley. Like, dude, there's going to be seasons where your body wants to rest. There's going to be seasons where your mind is going to fall back into some patterns of uncertainty. And obviously that's why surrounding yourself with the right people is so crucial, right? Like that's why we have a team here because, dude, yeah, there's times when everybody's on and everybody's clicking and everything is electric. But then there's also times where Brodie's struggling and everybody else picks up the pace. Or there's times where I'm struggling and then Brodie takes the lead and everybody, again, keeps up the pace. And so, dude, when it comes to transformation, going it alone is one of the worst things literally you can do. Go, like, we both tried it. Just straight up doesn't work, because you're left to your own devices. You're left with your own demons. You become your own counsel, and you're literally utilizing past experiences. You're utilizing past traumas, past limiting stories, your conditioning from growing up. That becomes your counsel for how your future is going to look. And that's just a fucking bad counsel. Nothing against you, but when other people are around you to hold up the mirror, when other people are around you to transform you and hold you accountable to a higher version of yourself, well, now your counsel is just massively upgraded. And now you're getting new insights, new strategies. Now you're getting new pushes of energy, new pushes of strategy, new pushes of accountability. And that's how we really came out of that season. And really, again, like, really weren't touched by COVID. It was amazing. We don't say that with arrogance. We say that with a shit ton of pride and a shit ton of, hey, we're the embodiment that it can work if you believe it and you act on it. So, but yeah, like, that was our first live event together, and it was defining. It was very transformative, right? And within the event, we got tons of shit we didn't want. We had a dude fucking blow his knee out. We lost power. We got hit with a snowstorm. It snowed like 10 inches on the second day. Like,
yeah, we lost power, and it was literally 7 degrees outside. And so we were having to get new fires up, rotate these guys to keep them warm. Nothing was going as planned. But luckily, our team had an incredible amount of agility throughout this process. And I think that agility, that was a real test for us. And it was a moment where we proved to ourselves that we were capable of dealing with almost anything, because in real time we had some of the most chaotic things happening at our event that could have put an event out of commission, and we were able to get through it. The clients, they told us after, dude, we didn't even know anything was wrong. And that's been something that we've been able to carry into, the way that we operate in business day in, day out, in dealing with adversity and dealing with the challenges that come up, and just understanding that the end is secure, that if you continue to push forward and you understand that life is delivering you exactly what you need, you are going to have the opportunity and the ability to create everything that you are looking to create. And so understanding the full process and the scope of how life works, while it may not come at you the way that you think it's going to, it comes at you exactly how you need. The lesson is always where you are. This is so important to understand. Is that Ram Dass?
That's Ram Dass.
That's
dude.
where I picked it up.
I just watched the documentary. Yeah.
If you guys have Amazon Prime Video and you do not have the Gaia channel, you are missing out. I've been consuming this thing for like the last year. I got you guys on it. Watch Ram Dass Becoming Nobody. It's really fucking good.
Yeah, the lesson's right where you are. There's literally nowhere else it could be. Like,
no.
That's a sexy line.
Totally, dude. Totally.
That's a back tat.
And I mean, and what I love about it too is it's so representative of everything that we teach. It's very, very on brand with us, because it's just the reality of life. Like, if there's one thing that we do at this company, it's just expose the truth. We hold up the mirror and we show individuals exactly what is right in front of them. It's really not that special, but we're very good at clouding our vision, and we're very good at letting our ego tell us that things are not the way they are. Truth and transparency is everything. You have to get clear on, hey, what are the facts of what is happening right now, so that we can actually build a game plan to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's the balance of things is really important, right? Like, yes, we have very strict, potent performance systems that require the very fucking best of our clients every single day. And we obviously use these in our lives and in here at Wake Up Wealthy. But like Brodie's saying, there's also this surrender aspect to it as well. Again, when it comes to transformation, to bring it back to the original topic, is like, yes, control what you can control. Always control what you can control. But a lot of guys, they control what they can control, but their ego tells them it's not enough. Their ego tells them that they're not burned out enough. They're not busy enough. They're not productive enough. And so they go white knuckling everything. They go putting all this extra pressure on their back because they need to feel the productivity, to feel the worthiness, right? Like, there's usually some more deep seated beliefs. And so what we've also had to implement this year is truly living this to the T. Like, dude, we can control what we can control. And the rest, some of it you do have to surrender. Like, some of it you do have to trust something bigger than yourself. And like, again, with like solving our lead gen, really cracking that code, right? Again, there's been certain things where we've done everything on our part right, and just certain things, either didn't fall our way or certain things broke along the way. But like, again, when we look at the bottom line, when we look at what matters, which is how many lives are we impacting, how many people are we helping evolve, how much, and revenue, obviously, revenue fucking matters in business, right? Like when we look at these KPIs, they still grow. We still hit numbers. We still change lives. And so it's like when you can control what you can control and you can show up in an elite way and you have people around you encouraging you to show up in an elite way, like you're entitled to what you can control. You're not entitled to anything outside of that.
Well, and what really stands out to me there too is like the dichotomies of success and of life. Like I am someone who is very rigid. I like to think in strict frames and view life a certain way. But, you know, there come points where the way that you view things has to be malleable. You have to be open to things that are contradictory. And so let me give you an example. Like the way that I manage, you know, my personal stress or emotions sometimes when I'm thinking about, you know, what I want my life to become. I like to take myself very seriously. I like to really truly believe with certainty that I am a man who, through the ripple effect of my actions, can impact the entire world. Now, in order to achieve that type of mission, you have to take yourself seriously. You have to take every action seriously and understand that there is a real potent benefit to everything that you are doing and the impact that you are going to have in this world. Now, the dichotomy that comes in is sometimes when problems come up, and you're taking yourself so fucking seriously, you put all this pressure there. And sometimes I have to remind myself that, like, dude, you're just one guy. Like, it just doesn't fucking matter. Sometimes, like, my first sponsor in AA, when I would bring in problems, he used to send me pictures of the universe. And he would be like, yeah, you're somewhere in here. It doesn't really matter. And so it's like, okay, well, when I tell individuals this and when I'm trying to coach someone through some of their problems, they're like, well, Brodie, do I fucking matter or do I not?
Yeah.
And it's like both.
Yeah.
Both. You have to understand the grand scope of it and understand that, like, dude, some things just aren't solvable. And there's always going to be these dichotomies inside of everything that you do. Life is incredibly complex. What I always say, life's a weird one.
It's a strange deal.
It's just a strange deal, and sometimes you can't figure it out. But you have to understand which modalities of thinking serve you in certain purposes. What are you trying to achieve in the moment, and how do you apply that modality? And so we're going to be digging into, a ton on this podcast. I'm really excited to be sitting here. There's going to be, a lot of episodes coming out. And so I really want you guys to share this information, to use this information, to integrate this information into your being and really allow yourselves to grow through it, because we're going to be digging into everything that we dig into at Wake Up Wealthy. And it is truly deep work. You're going to have to take this information and you're going to have to sit with it. You're going to have to journal on it. You are going to have to truly look at yourself, take a look in the mirror and say, hey, what needs to change? And so we are going to be here with you every step of the way through that process inside of the Wake Up Wealthy podcast. If you want more support from us, from my team, from the experts inside of the Wake Up Wealthy coaching staff, and from the Wake Up Wealthy Brotherhood itself, you will have links in the description of this podcast below to find out about what we do. Reach out to us on social media. Ask if you were a fit. Apply to be part of the Brotherhood, because what we have here is truly special. And as I'm sure you can hear it in my voice right now, you can hear it in Julian's voice. It is our core mission in life to serve men in business who want to be good husbands, good fathers, good business owners, good leaders, and who want to truly leave a dent in this universe. And so the only thing that I can ask of you is show up powerfully, be present when you're listening to this podcast, and share it with someone who needs to see it.